My name is David Pinder and I work in Pinder Bros in Sheffield, which has been established over 130 years.
My name's Henry Swagger and I work for BM Kramer company in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm born and raised in Pittsburgh, so I've lived here for 32 years.
My average day is solving problems of many types, shipments, production, payments.
I would say my average day is a lot of field and phone calls, processing orders, helping people figure out what type of product they need to use.
I like most about my job the complexity of the problems and sometimes the thrill of getting a large order.
It's kind of in the blood that this is what I should do, and I love working with my dad. Every day is something different.
I dislike difficult customers who you know are being unreasonable, and sadly we do have a few of these, but in general the customers are very good to us.
I've had a couple odd things happen to me at work. I've had people come in trying to buy product for applications that we don't typically sell product for. I had a gentleman come in one Thanksgiving morning trying to buy copper fittings so he could design his boat exhaust. We don't sell products for boats.
Getting emails from tomorrow. With the time zone, we deal with customers all over the world, and it's tomorrow in parts of the world, and they're still working even though it's past midnight, and they send us the email, which is a new phenomena this last few years.
We're in this previous Slovak and Polish section of the city, and these are all your good, solid, blue-collar steel workers. I think those traditions and that type of work ethic was passed down generation to generation. It's a good, hard-working city for sure.
There is a very strong work ethic in Sheffield. This is due to the handwork that craftsmen have done for many years, and requires a great dedication to get the product right.
I'm not sure if everybody in the U.S. has the same work ethic. I can tell we do a lot of business around the country, and when you go to different sections of the country, there's definitely a different pace of work versus the East Coast and Pittsburgh.
All the items that Pinder Brothers make are entirely handmade, which does surprise some people. I remember our agent of the day coming from Australia expecting to see, say, spirit flasks dropping off an automatic machine, and he was absolutely astounded to find a team of men actually making them by hand.
Some of my favorite things about Pittsburgh, it's got a good culture and a good city feel to it. It's a good mix of different neighborhoods that have all sorts of different backgrounds. They've got a great food culture, which I love to eat, and I love the restaurant scene in Pittsburgh, but it's kind of got everything that a big city has, and not quite so big. It's got a good hometown feel to it.
There's a lot I like about Sheffield. It's an industrial town, but very close to the borders of the town. It's beautiful countryside. The people are very friendly, and prices generally, particularly say compared with London, are very competitive.
Being that our company has an industrial background, we've seen a lot of decline in heavy industry in the city of Pittsburgh. I'd like to see some of that industry come back to the actual city. A lot of those industries are on the outskirts of the city. I'd like to see those come back to downtown Pittsburgh.
I don't know that I'd change very much about Sheffield. There are lots of improvements have been made. I think probably everybody would like to be a little better off. It is still a depressed area in the country. Unfortunately, silverware production in Sheffield, cutlery production in Sheffield is a dying industry due to the competition abroad.
I'd say my favorite season is winter. Our industry, with all the freezing and warming up, we tend to get a lot more phone calls for product during the winter.
My favourite season, I think, is the summer, when you can get out in the open air, and I do some sailing. But really I quite enjoy all the seasons, and I think the advantage of living, particularly in the UK, is that the seasons are all different.
If I were to sell Pittsburgh to people in Sheffield, I'd tell them that this is a city with very nice people, very honest people. It's a city that has everything that a large city has to offer, but a real hometown feel to it.
If I were going to sell Sheffield to Pittsburgh, I would say, well, here I am from a town exactly like yours. that suffered with the recessions and the competition from the Far East for steel product. So let's get together.
Honestly, I can say that this is my dream job. I've known since I was a little boy that this is what I wanted to do. It's a family business and I have a lot of pride in that, so I wouldn't trade this job for anything.
It's, if I didn't do my job here, it's difficult to know what I should do because I've always been committed being a family business.
Steel's very symbolic for our city. It speaks to the hardworking group of people from our city. I think that still holds its weight. There's not very much steel production within the city of Pittsburgh at all, so I don't think it's very relevant any longer.
Steel City to me means a heavy industry, very specialised, and of course it goes back to Chaucer's days when he had a cutlery from Sheffield.
We have a lot of people in Pittsburgh that request domestic product, and that's not the case in a lot of places across the country. So I think it's a old school city with a lot of hardworking people in it that want to buy an American product.
There are some very traditional values still left in the city. Sheffield is a little old-fashioned for various reasons, the craft, things of that nature.
I think the people of Pittsburgh define the future, and whatever situation we're given, we're going to find what's right for the future for us.
Oh, I think for the future Sheffield will still be very important in steel and metals. We are really well established, a world leader, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.